Labour says it'll make tackles the general election. Shadow Education Secretary Bridget Phillipson set out a number of proposed measures today, including creating a national register for homeschooled pupils and using AI to spot trends in absence. This comes as government figures show more than a fifth of pupils in England are persistently absent, and that is double the number before COVID.
Children aren't in school. They haven't gone to school. However excellent our teachers, however well evidenced their approaches, however thoughtful our school leaders, they can't teach children who aren't there. We have a crisis in attendance in our schools, and today that is the single biggest barrier to success for our children.
Well, joining me now in the studio, columnist at The Times, Hugo Rifkind, good to see you. And down the line, I'm joined by Sam Lister, political editor at the Daily Express. Good to have you both on the programme. Let's start with you, Hugo. Absenteeism, parents who don't take school attendance seriously. In the old days, you used to be very proud if your child had a 100% attendance record. It used to matter. Somehow COVID nuked all of that.
Well, so a couple of remarkable things about this. One is the numbers. A fifth of pupils, over 20% of pupils are persistently absent. That's a lot of kids, a lot of kids who aren't going into school. The other thing that I thought was remarkable is they're talking about a national homeschooling register. Can you believe there isn't one already?
No, and I think it's been highlighted often that there isn't one, to the point that you would imagine that there now is one.
Yes,
there
well, exactly.
Because these are pupils that just disappear. Nobody knows where they are or who's educating them or how they're being educated or to what level.
Gillian Keegan was talking about this, the Education Secretary was talking about this last week, saying it was impractical to introduce one. There's surely got to be one. But I think the most interesting thing about all of this is you can't really imagine there are many votes in this. You know, people who aren't sending their kids to school aren't going to vote for a party that is making them. This is that strangest of thing that we haven't seen for a while, which is a plan for government. This is something that should be done, whether or not there are any votes in it. It's sort of remarkable.
Sam Lister, do you agree that this is, in a way, a terrific thing for Labour to be focusing on, but also, as Hugo says, you know, not a sexy one, it's not going to be a vote winner, it's not going to be a kind of attention spinner, it's a bit of a kind of, I don't know, a backwater of a subject in a way?
Yeah, I think there was a point in that there are very few votes in punishing parents for their kids not attending school. I think that is a very fair point to make. But I think it is one that both Labour and the Conservatives are increasingly concerned about. And we saw Gillian Keegan yesterday the Education Secretary announce a plan to resolve this problem. She announced hubs where the best schools with the highest attendance rate help those who are struggling to get kids back into the classroom with, you know, the best practice from their classrooms. So it clearly is something that is of concern to both sides of the political divide, something that really does need action quite quickly. I thought it was interesting, Bridget Phillipson, she was very clear that it wasn't the teacher's fault, it is the fault of irresponsible parents, she called it in the Sunday Times. And then today she talked about parents being disrespectful by failing to send their children to school. So she's very clear in who she is blaming for this problem, and that is the parents who are failing to turn up to the school gate. But yeah, I think what's interesting is this is not just a case of some families who are struggling, who are having particular difficulties at home and are struggling to get the kids out the door, get them into school, that kind of thing. Bridget Phillipson particularly made reference to parents who now are deciding, oh, well, let's go on holiday instead. It's your birthday, let's go off and have a nice treat for the day instead of going to school. That's an incredibly different mindset to the kind of the problems we've had with absenteeism in the past, which was generally kind of ascribed to families that were struggling, you know, facing difficult challenges. This is more a kind of middle class parents just going off on jollies, and that's a really difficult problem to solve.
Is it a middle class thing, or is it just a general parental thing? We all got used to slobbing about in pyjamas and taking or leaving, actually showing up anywhere at all, and so it's kind of legacy of not having to show up anywhere. I
I'm sure it's a bit of both. I mean, it is obviously a problem for schools when kids don't, because people forget when kids don't go into school, it disrupts the whole lesson because somebody's left behind, the teacher's distracted. That being said, if the major truancy issue in this country is middle-class parents taking their children on skiing holidays, I'd be surprised.
And me too.